Here we're asked to differentiate two different expressions, or what are considered to be functions here. So here's the deal. When you're differentiating, the book gives you a reciprocal rule, but I think it's easier, instead of trying to remember a whole nother rule, just to remember your quotient rule. So the derivative, let's say this guy is equal to y, then dy dx is equal to the bottom times the derivative, so low times the derivative of the top, which is 0, minus the top times the derivative of the bottom, over the bottom squared. So this is going to be 0, so I'm just going to have a negative. Just like that. Okay. So what they're doing with this reciprocal rule in the book is they're just trying to say, look, this guy's always going to drop out, and it is. So you're just going to end up with negative this guy. But again, I think it's unnecessary to try to remember an additional rule when you can go ahead and just do it this way each time. Okay, so that was A. Let's take a look at B. So again, let's call this something else. I'll call it Z. So dz dx is equal to the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom. And for all of you out there who are disappointed that I'm not saying numerator and denominator, you can if you want to. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference at this point. So again, I like to remember it as high d low minus low, low d high minus high d low over low squared. So I think about it as highs and lows because it's just an easy way to remember it, right? So low d high minus high d low over low squared. But if you want to do denominator times the derivative of the numerator minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator over the denominator squared, you can. It just doesn't quite flow off the tongue as nicely as low d high minus high d low over low squared. Okay, so let's continue on. This right here is 0. This right here is negative x minus 2. And this square root, sorry. And this is square root of x plus 2 quantity squared. So this can be negative square root of x plus 2 over square root of x plus 2 quantity squared, just like that. Okay. Now, if you want, when you, whoops, actually, I'm sorry, I gotta go back. I said that wrong. I didn't take the derivative here. Okay, so the low times the derivative of the top minus the top times, I need the derivative of the bottom. And the derivative of the bottom is going to be 1 over 2 square roots of x. Okay, so that's different, right? So you have to, I could have went back and edited the video, but let's just be honest, people are not perfect at these. So if you make a mistake, that's right, just own up to it and fix it. So I get this, and so that's going to be negative 1 over 2 square roots of x times the square root of x plus 2 quantity squared. That looks a little bit better.